Hello. Welcome to episode 14 of the Top 2 Inches Rugby podcast, brought to you by I Spy Surveys, the go-to specialist survey and inspection company based in Exeter, Devon. Happy New Year to all. Like I said, this is episode 14. Happy New Year. Well, it's not been the greatest start, has it? Let's be fair. We are into lockdown 3.0. 6 weeks of lockdown, and I'm imagining, most people are thinking it's not the best start really. But hey ho, Ruggers is still being played. Rugby has not been stopped. The Premiership will still be going, so at least we will have something to chat about. So, what is going to be on this episode? Hopefully, Ollie will be joining us this week to review the Premiership games that did take place. I'm going to have a little look at the Allianz Premier 15 for the ladies. We're going to check out the news talk about the news that potentially the Lions tour to South Africa could be off because of the pandemic, and obviously this new strain of the variant of the COVID virus, and the impact that could potentially have. The first Lions tour being called off in a number of years. So yeah, that's everything on the show. Don't forget, we are on Twitter at Top 2 Inches Rugby Podcast, and obviously our episode can be found on all platforms such as YouTube, Anchor, Spotify and Apple Podcast. That's it. On with the show. It's the part of the show where we check in on the ladies' game, the Allianz Premier 15s. There were two games that were due to be played over the weekend, but unfortunately both games were postponed. These were games that originally had been postponed due to the COVID issue. So the first game that was postponed was the DMP Durham Sharks versus Sale Women. Unfortunately, this game was postponed due to the pitch being frozen, and obviously player safety and welfare is mightily important. The weather has been very cold lately, so that is unfortunate, and I guess that game will need to be played further down the line when there is a open window to do so. Now, the game of the weekend was obviously going to be the top of the table clash between Harlequins and Saracens Women. As I've said before, both teams haven't lost this season. Both teams have been playing some fantastic rugby, and Harlequins are currently top, and Saracens are in second. Unfortunately, the game was called off due to a Harlequins player testing positive for COVID-19, and several other players and staff members who were also having to isolate due to close contact. Obviously, they're following the medical protocols to make sure everybody's health and well-being is paramount and protected. And then I think there is going to be the disputes committee will be meeting early this week, or potentially have already met to determine the next step. So unfortunately there was nothing to report other than two games cancelled from the ladies' game this weekend. Hopefully the next round will be a lot better, and we'll be able to bring you more in-depth thoughts around the game. Hello, Ollie. 2 weeks away, you are back to review the rugby. How you doing, mate?
Hello, mate. How's it going?
Not too bad at all. How have you been? How was Christmas?
Not bad. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year,
mate. Happy
New Year.
Yeah, not too bad at all, actually, mate. Had a nice, obviously, a quiet one, as with most people would have done. But good, mate. Had a nice family Christmas.
Good to hear. And how was your
party on New Year, like you alluded to?
Was it a massive party, or was it just you by yourself?
Pretty much me by myself, yeah, in bed by pretty much 11:30, I think it was.
Lovely. I think I was in bed much earlier than that. I think it was probably about 9:30. So there we go. Listen, mate, obviously, I want to chat about round 5 of the Gallagher Premiership, but I just want to touch on a couple of things with you beforehand, if that's okay. So if this is a bit of a curveball, I do apologise.
Is it about rugby?
Yes, it is about rugby. It's not about life. Don't worry. I've got that down, to be fair. So there are rumblings in the rugby world that the Lions tour to South Africa, obviously, which is going to be in July, is looking like it could be postponed or not even happening. Obviously, there's been a bit of a new variant of the COVID-19, which has obviously come directly from South Africa.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at a few things. I think they're making a decision at the end of the month. Sorry, I said July that it starts, but it's actually, I'm not 100% sure when. It could be July. So, what's your kind of thoughts on this? I mean, obviously, it's a massive money spinning, event for South Africa. They're expecting like 30,000 people to go over there, if not more. It's televised to the millions all over the world. It's in everybody's homes. What's your kind of thoughts? Should it be cancelled? Should it be postponed? What do you reckon?
Oh, it's just rubbish, isn't it? It's bloody COVID, isn't it? It's ruining everything, rugby in particular. But well, that's all we care about. But
That is all we
no,
care about. Yes.
um, I don't know, mate. Yeah, I've heard a few ideas of the possibilities of what they could do about it. I actually think probably the best case scenario, knowing what I know of it, is to postpone it a year and run the tour into 22, isn't it?
Yeah.
Um, I think that's probably the most sensible approach because yeah, obviously you ideally want the tours to go ahead as planned, so they only happen once every 4 years.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's talk of playing it over here and all that sort of thing, but I don't think that's right because the Lions tour is about touring, isn't it? Going to another
Yeah.
country and
Absolutely.
touring, and that's not fair on South Africa because they make a lot, not just through the rugby gate receipts and everything that comes with that, but the economy gets a boost from the tourism essentially, isn't it? So
Yeah. Absolutely.
that's what I reckon. The only concern on that is can South they're obviously not going to be able to manage get control of COVID by summer of this year in time for when but you want to be certain that they can do it because you don't want to be postponing it and then potentially having to postpone or cancel it again or whatever, isn't it?
No. Yeah. I think I agree. I think from what, having it in this country and South Africa coming on tour here, that's not the point. Playing it behind closed doors in South Africa, not really the point. I suppose you could still make money from TV viewing and things like that. But like you say, it is about the touring. We've been on a Lions tour, haven't we?
Yeah.
2001 Lions in Australia, and the atmosphere and the sea of red as you're walking down, like Sydney High Street or whatever, and going to all different places. It's an amazing feeling,
Yeah.
and for the tour to go ahead without that, it's pointless. It is pointless.
Yeah,
And
it is. It
to bring it
is.
over here, it's not. It just wouldn't work. So I would agree. Postponing it for a year seems like the best option if that is what might happen. I don't know. Obviously, I suppose it's a different variant of the strain in South Africa, isn't it? And they might not have, the vaccine or whatever over there. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's from what I know of it on the whole COVID. I mean, no one's particularly dealing with it well because it's just a continually changing thing, isn't it? But I think uh, sort of the west more sort of western side of the world and the UK, we're seem to be a bit further ahead in the timeline than South Africa. So I think that's the main thing. They're sort of further behind with us on how it's affecting the nation. So there's just no chance of having crowds in the stadium, isn't it, by
Yeah,
summertime? Whereas we might actually be able to fill stadiums by that time if we all goes to plan over here. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't be 100% against it if they decided to play it on UK shores, but
okay.
it just takes away so much of what the Lions is about, isn't it? Like you say, the touring side and everything like that. I don't think that's the right decision. But
No,
if they decide that, they decide that. It's still rugby, isn't it?
true. Very true, mate. Yeah. So we'll have to wait and see what kind of happens in that respect, I guess. But obviously, at the moment, this vaccine, this pandemic, this virus, he ain't going away. So or she, he or she, or they, or them. You know, let's be fair. It could be any one of them.
Good recovery.
Yeah, it's not coming. It's not going away. Thank you. So anyway, let's go back to round 5 of the Gallagher Premiership. Obviously, you weren't here the week before to give your sort of predictions on what may happen.
Yeah, I
So
listened
I'm
to you.
just
I
going
listened to yours, mate. You pretty much got them wrong, didn't you? Apart from
yes,
one.
yes, I did get them all wrong. Yes, I did. Yeah, no, yeah, I did actually get them all wrong. So yeah, fair
I
enough.
enjoyed that. Gave me a little chuckle midweek.
And what about when I completely forgot the Sale game when I was reviewing it as well?
Yeah, that was pretty professional, mate. Well done. Well done.
Yeah, I know. Thank you. I do try hard. So yeah, so I want to start with the Friday night game. There were two. Well, I say there were two games. There were two Friday night. There were supposed to be two Friday night games: the Bristol Bears against Newcastle, Worcester against Harlequins. Obviously, Worcester and Harlequins was cancelled due to COVID.
Yep.
And if I'm right in thinking, I don't know what I'm thinking. I can't remember. Someone's been given some points. I can't remember whose team had the outbreak. But it'll be a 4 point to whoever didn't and 2 points. The other one, like they did the week before with the Leicester.
For Worcester Harlequins.
Yeah.
I think, actually, I'm not 100%. I think Harlequins were the ones to sort of pull out. So they got the 2 points, didn't they? And Worcester,
They got the 2 points and Worcester got the 4 points. Yeah. So yeah, unfortunately, another game that has fallen foul of the virus. So Friday night, Bears, Newcastle. Bears won 29-17.
Yeah.
Half time, Bears were 14-10 up. I obviously predicted a Newcastle win. I think from the highlights I saw, I mean, Bristol just looked on fire. They're such a different team at Ashton Gate. They're building a fortress there. Newcastle were in the game. They were nuggety. They were gritty. They kept in the fight. But obviously their kind of form is, they've had their first loss. But I don't think they played particularly badly. I think Bristol just had the edge, maybe with a few more kind of, quality international. I mean, Piatau was back, Randrandra was playing, Nathan Hughes, all the kind of big guns were playing. I just wonder what your thoughts were.
Yeah, exactly that, really, mate. I think that was the main difference. That just like you say, the big guns, Bristol have got more, a bit more in their armory, haven't they, than Newcastle? But I think, in total honesty, I would have predicted a Bristol win for that one. But
okay,
I would have also said I think it might be quite close. But Newcastle aren't going to make it, and they did. They surprised me actually. They fought very well, didn't they? And
yeah, they looked like they're going to be good. They are good this year.
Yeah, I think the only question is how strong the sort of strength and depth in the squad and whether they can sustain it for the full season, isn't it? But I think they've already done enough to be secure, haven't it? They're not going to be relegated just because of what they've already done, I think. But but where they actually end, I don't foresee them maintaining top 4, but they could well end up in top half if they sort of keep the form going for a fair while.
Okay, I mean, I do also think that games cancelled might play an interesting kind of twist or put an interesting variant on the kind of final placings for the season. Really, it could be. It might come down to a case at the end of the season where one team needs to win, but their game's off because of COVID. They only get 2 points, and then they're not in the top 4 sort of scenario. So
it's
an interesting one,
isn't it?
Yeah, it's difficult.
It's frustrating, and just on that as a side, that decision to do a 4-point win and a 2-point loss. I mean, I don't really know how I feel about it. It's annoying, obviously, that the games aren't going ahead, but I think if you're on the losing side, you think, well, that's very nice. 2 points is pretty decent, isn't it? But in reality, if you think about it, if the game had gone ahead, how many games actually end up with a 4-2 on the points, isn't it? There's very few.
Yeah,
isn't
it's not. Yeah, no. I don't necessarily think the team that didn't have the COVID should get 4 points and the 5 points with the bonus point. I think a 4-1. Just look at it. The team won. And the team that had the COVID gets the 1 point because they got like a losing bonus point or something. I don't know, or score 4 tries. I think that seems a little bit more kind of fair, really.
Yeah, it's just so difficult, isn't it? You're always going to have arguments for and against. I don't think there's any perfect solution, is there? Because it's not a perfect thing to have to deal with, is it?
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, well let's move on to the next game. And what a game! Exeter Chiefs away at Wasps at the Rico. Exeter Chiefs handed their first loss of the season in the Gallagher Premiership. 34-5. Wasps came out on top. Half time was 8-0 to Wasps. Now I remember we had a conversation where you said you didn't think Exeter were really full strength.
Yeah.
But they weren't far off, I don't think, bar a couple of kind of, that capstick. Is it capstick? He's obviously relatively new or young.
Yeah, I mean, I still back that. I think they were a very weakened side with what they could have fielded. But personally, anyway, I think if you just quickly flick through, I can't remember exactly, but I think the front row was missing Cowan Dickey, Harry Williams, Ben Moon wasn't in the squad, was he? And then second row, you got your three probably first choice second rowers in Johnny Gray, Johnny Hill, and Sam Skinner, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Halfbacks probably not weakened. Yeah, the back line a bit less, isn't it? Obviously, Hoggy and Henry Slade and Jack Nowell are all out, aren't they? But your three sort of biggest names, but yeah, I just sort of said that. I think the actual starting 15 was probably more of a second string, but the bench was pretty much. I mean, I think Thomas Francis and Maunder were on there, but other than that, it was new faces, youngsters, wasn't it? So
yeah.
Whereas Chiefs normally are strong from bringing on their the finishers, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
But the thing that surprised me is even
how good Wasps were.
Even with a weakened side, you would expect Chiefs to be contesting a bit more than they did. I think they'll be very, very disappointed and potentially a bit concerned by that. But because Wasps just spanked them, didn't they, completely?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the highlights of the game, and it was a bit like Wasp did an Exeter to Exeter.
Yeah, exactly.
They were just in their faces. They were aggressive. They were working hard for each other, defending well. There were some moments of brilliance, but there was also some real dogged, on the line, last up tackling from Chiefs, power plays coming through from the Wasps. I mean, Gaskell got a couple of tries, which were, hard work, hard fought for tries. There was a bit of magic from outside from Bassett and Sapawanga. They were just brilliant.
Yeah.
They really were.
Yeah, I agree.
Fantastic.
I personally, I think it's all about resting the players and stuff, isn't it? I think Baxter and the coaching side at Chiefs have probably decided to field the weakened side and rest players, almost throw in the Wasps game or not be too concerned about losing. But still, I just don't think they would have expected the nature of defeat, is it? Like losing like they did.
No, they won't be happy, I'm sure. Okay, so let's move on to the next game. Gloucester against Sale Sharks. Obviously, Sale Sharks were coming off a bit of a losing streak since old Steve Diamond left. They actually managed to come away with the victory this time, 22-19. They were losing 16-9 at half-time. Sale still didn't seem to have an alternative plan. It was more the kind of South African grunt up front. There were a few yellow cards flying about. I think it's probably one that Gloucester should have won, but I guess Sale will be pleased with a victory, especially away to end that losing kind of run that they were on. And obviously, is it Deacon, the new coach or the standing coach? Is it Deacon
Gloucester?
the rugby? No, for
Sale.
Yeah, I'm sure it's the former Bradford Bulls scrum half Deacon.
Okay.
Anyway, it's the interim coach. It was a victory they kind of really wanted.
Yeah, I kind of agree, mate. It wasn't a particularly enthralling game, or neither side dominated in any way. I thought Gloucester had a few good spells, and then they had a few shocking spells as well, didn't they? So the sum up is, like you said, it was just a good win for Sale, wasn't it? They've done well to pick up the away win, I think.
Quite a dogged kind of affair.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how they both go next week, because I don't think either team have really found their feet this season yet, and they're kind of still scrapping their way to kind of find.
Stuttering.
They've had some. Stuttering, inconsistent, I guess, would probably be the best word to use for them. Okay, let's move on from that one. Obviously, Northampton Saints and London Irish. was cancelled as well.
Saints get a win.
So I think Saints get the win, 2 on the trot. That's good for them. And obviously the round on the Sunday as well. The game of the round 5, our teams. Tigers against Bath. Bath at Welford Road.
Come on then.
Oh, Bath.
Oh, my very Bath, yeah.
Oh, Bath. I just 14-0 up. And I know it was close. It finished 13-6, 36
No,
to
it wasn't
31.
close, though, was it? It was close on score, but Bath were just atrocious, mate. Atrocious.
They weren't good, mate, were they? Bath have so many good players, and to be fair, both managers are, Borthwick and
Hatley.
I shouldn't.
Who? Sorry, you saying Bath coaches?
Yeah. So who's the lad that I dumped on his ass?
Hooper. He's not actually a coach, is he? He's director of rugby.
No. Well,
Hatley and Dempsey are the main
director. Yeah. They both the teams named were pretty strong teams, to be fair. And I was expecting it to be a hell of a ding dong, but I didn't think it was going to be as much of a ding dong as this. Obviously, I predicted a Leicester win. You obviously would have gone for Bath.
In all honesty, I would obviously I'll always going to back Bath, and my head would have actually said we're going to do well to be getting a win. But the most disappointing thing was just the nature again of the loss. Bath were it's just abysmal, mate. It's just so frustrating. I'm really annoyed and concerned with what the hell's going on at Bath. That
Yeah,
like you said, strong side. That starting 15 in particular is as strong as any side in the Premiership on paper, and it's just like watching amateurs. It was just horrendous. Other than a couple of glimpses, Spencer's try was decent, wasn't it? And a couple of other bits, but generally, And it was simple. Your boys, George Ford had an outstanding game, didn't he? Which makes a huge difference.
Yeah, Genji was running around like a nutter, wasn't he? And
exactly. Your big names stood up and played as they should. And
not sure what happened there. I think we just dropped out. I think maybe one of us lost signal. I think it might be. I'm not sure what happened. But yeah, so Bath, the Tigers' big name stepped up, didn't they? I mean, it was quite ferocious. Their defence looked good.
Where did I get to in my rant?
Well, I think you got to the point where you said that the Tigers' big lads, the main dudes, kind of stepped up. George Ford, Genji, Youngs, and all the kind of England boys coming back, sort of stepped up and did what they had to do.
Bath's big names didn't.
No, they certainly didn't.
Yeah, I said it was with the Bath big names that you could have just had 18-year-old academy players you don't even know the names of doing that sort of job, isn't it? It was just you expect your big names to be standing up in these games, isn't it? But no, it's a worry, mate. I don't want to linger on Bath too much, but it is a worry.
Mate, let's linger.
The only thing I would say on the Bath Leicester banter for us is it's probably the worst game I've seen Bath play performance-wise in a very long time, and probably one of the best I've seen Tigers play in a very long time. And it's still very close on the scoreline.
Oh, well, it's still 1-0 anyway. But I mean, obviously, we were texting last night saying Rockadaguni seems to be off, Elliot Stooke seems to be off.
Yeah,
I do wonder if there is something amiss.
Well, there's a few rumours like that, isn't it? What sort of comes about as being actual. I mean, Rockadaguni, to be fair, is probably at the end of his time at Bath anyway, because he's sort of not first choice anymore, isn't it? And coming towards the end of his career, so you totally understand if he's going somewhere else to finish his career. Elliot Stooke would be a bit more concerning. I know there's been rumours about Ben Abano and Zach Mercer and things like that. So you start losing players like that, then that is concerning because they're sort of young and up and coming, in particular English boys that you want to be keeping at the club if you're looking to build, isn't it?
Yeah, because Abano's linked with Wasps, isn't he? I think.
He's been linked with a few, but I know Exeter Chiefs have been tapping him up, haven't they?
Rob no, that was it. Chiefs, not Sorry, that would be interesting. Okay, so I mean that was round 5 of the Gallagher Premiership. So let's look ahead to next week. And funnily enough, first game on 2 games on Friday night again. It's not going to get any easier for Bath, they are being visited by Wasps.
Yeah, the sort of form side of the last round,
Few
which is
weeks.
great, isn't it? So you got like the best form against the worst form. But I'm going to back Bath anyway, though.
You're going to Bath back anyway.
I'm going to back Bath. Yeah, I think Jack. I've heard unless he comes through, Jack Willis might be out for Wasp, which makes a bit of a difference. But I just Bath have got to turn the corner at some side, turn the tide at some stage, haven't they? Otherwise we're out. We're going to be relegated, mate. So
Yeah.
I'm just hoping after what happened last weekend, it'll be like a bit of a kick up the ass kickstart for them, and they might actually pull a performance out next weekend.
Right, I agree. I'm sorry, mate, but I'm going to have to say.
Of course you will. Of course you will.
I'm going to say Wasps.
That's all right. My head's saying Wasps as well, but I'm sticking with my heart on this one.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so the next game will be Sale against Worcester. Obviously, Worcester have had a week off. Sale have come away from a good win. I would probably say Sale at home is going to take the victory.
Agreed.
Exeter Chiefs, Bristol on the Saturday at Chiefs.
Good game, mate. Good game.
It will be a good
game.
Yeah, I think Bristol have won a few times down at Sandy Park as well.
I think it could be quite close, and it could be a real ding dong, especially if Bristol are able to field their full strength side again. But I don't know how they stand with resting. But I, as I say, with Baxter, I think he sort of chose the Wasps game to rest the guys that needed resting because he wants to put that full strength, bring back Slady, Hogg, and Gray, and that for Bristol at home, and then the European games, isn't it? That's what he's targeted. But
yeah.
So yeah, on that basis, I would back Chiefs to win it, but I think it could be a hell of a game, mate. Could be a hell of a game.
Yeah, definitely. I would agree on that one. Okay, so Newcastle Falcons and Gloucester at Newcastle.
Newcastle for me.
Yeah, I would agree on that one. I don't think Gloucester, obviously coming off the defeat against Sale, I think it could be a tough old time for them up there.
Yeah, and it could be about -15 as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's probably going to be a bit chilly, I'd imagine, up in the northwest.
West, I think. I don't know. Anything north of Bristol's north, isn't it? So yeah, they're up north, mate.
Absolutely. And I've actually read today that the Northampton Tigers game is off.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's off. I think it was Northampton players that have. Let me just check. Pretty sure it's Northampton players. Yeah, cancelled due to COVID cases in the Northampton squad. So the derby between Northampton and Leicester is off.
So does that mean a 4-point win for Tigers?
So it's a 4-point win for Tigers and 2 points for the Chiefs. I guess for the Saints, I guess.
See, I would have backed Saints on that one.
Well, I would have probably said it would have been a hell of a affair, but I think Leicester would have won probably just by about 3 points. It would have been really close.
Yeah, I think really again close. that could have been a really good game. It's a shame it's not going ahead.
Yeah, massive shame.
On form, I would say Tigers should win it, but I just think again with Saints they've got to pull a performance out soon, haven't they? Like kind of similar to Bath. So and they seem to be gradually improving over the last few games that they have actually played, isn't it? So I would just with the home advantage, I would have gone for Saints, but we'll never know.
Well, we won't know, mate, unfortunately. And obviously that's 2 weeks in a row now that Saints haven't been playing. So
yeah,
it's bad times. And then the final game is on the Sunday, Harlequins against London Irish at the Stoop.
Oof.
Harlequins, London Irish.
That's a local derby now, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it probably will be. So obviously both teams didn't play last week, so both teams will be fresh. Harlequins are normally pretty good at home. It's normally their away form that lets them down.
Tough to call. They're inconsistent as well. That literally could go either way. Saints. Let's go Saints. I'm going to go Saints.
Saints? We're talking about Harlequins and
Sorry,
Irish.
Quins.
You're going to go Quins. I'm going to go Irish on that one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm going to go Irish. Okay, so that looks at the Gallagher Premiership this week and kind of predictions for next week. Let's not bother with the fantasy rugby.
Well,
It was
because I'm Stephen.
it was another good week for you. My kind of thought process was that obviously I'd gone for a few Gloucester players. I thought Gloucester were kind of going to do a bit of a job on sale. It didn't come off, and obviously normally we have a few Exeter lads in there, and obviously their game wasn't particularly good. It wasn't a particularly high scoring round for either of us, but I think you are obviously doing quite well. So well played so far. But like I said, it's a long way to go. Fingers crossed that your form dips. Say that again, mate. You faded out a little bit.
It's a long old season, right, mate?
It is a long old season. It is a long old season. Listen, mate, you're fading out a little bit, so I will let you get on to whatever you were doing. Thank you for dropping in and chatting, and we'll catch up again next week.
Okay, great. Thanks for having me on again,
No worries
mate.
at all, mate. Always a pleasure, and we'll speak soon. See you later, buddy. Take care. Bye.
Cheers.
So that wraps up episode 14 of the Top 2 Inches, the first episode of 2021. Thank you very much for listening and downloading. As I've said before, we are on Twitter at Top 2 Inches RP. Get on there, follow us, leave us messages, ask questions. We're more than happy to answer as many as we can. We'll be back next week. We'll be talking again, obviously, about the Premiership, talking about the Fantasy Rugby, the Allianz Premier 15. Once again, this podcast is brought to you by I Spy Surveys, the go-to specialist survey and inspection company based in Exeter, Devon. Give them a shout, get in contact with them. They're a fantastic company. So thank you once again for listening, and we will see you next time.